And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you're listening. It's July 8th, 2026. It's Wednesday. And a lot went on today. We'll discuss it, as we always do. And in case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry. Unfortunately, we have to do Iran today and the president today and whatever else today. And if you don't get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. If you don't follow us on X, just go there, put our name in. And if you'd like to email me, just be nice and respectful, because we'll be nice and respectful back, unless you like Hamas and all that crap. So here's the story. Iran shot at some boats. We started blowing up some things around Iran. The president, by the way, let me preface it, as you know, I have said to you, we're done with it and him, but we will only talk about him when material things come up. And of course, we're done with him because it just, as we've stated, the first thing you teach your kids is don't lie. And we've got a guy that's serial, and it's enough. So only when material things come up. So here's what happens. He's over at NATO, and he's asked, and he says the ceasefire's over, or something to that effect, and oil spiked up, which makes yields spike up. And of course, after that, he kind of changed the stance to but it won't be for long. I can't tell you how nauseating it is that a president of the United States is conducting a war via social media and via never shutting up. Anyway, so markets reacted to that. Oil up, so guess what? Travel stocks down. Retail, which we've been telling you is already in bad shape, worsens. Financials that have been acting pretty good gets hit. Don't ask me why American Express and Capital One got kicked in the teeth today. I don't think that had anything to do with Iran. Oil stocks were up. I'm going to save semiconductors for last, by the way. But most advanced declines, not good. Up, down, volume, not good. You ready for this? New yearly highs on New York, 39. New yearly lows, 107. I must tell you, that amazes me. And I'm not so sure it's a big deal or anything, but it's still, wow. And on the New York, I'm just going to tell you some of the new highs, because I said 39, but there really isn't. But I will tell you some refiners like Valero and Marathon Petroleum at new yearly highs. What else? I think it's important I tell you what's at new yearly highs, right? Beazer Homes, I think they got a bigger buyout. Another oil, Oceaneering International, another oil, Chart Industries. And after that, not much. Some non-operating stuff. And then on the Nasdaq, not much either there. I'm looking. You know what I see a lot of on the Nasdaq? A name and then therapeutics or pharmaceuticals. A lot of small biotechs at new yearly highs on the Nasdaq. And by the way, on the Nasdaq, if I can get the number correct, 183 new lows, only 68 new highs, and believe me, cut that in half. So let me first state for the record, I have no clue what happens tonight with Iran. But the president said they're going to do some attacking tonight, but we also know, go look at your watch, and a half hour later he may change his mind. So we just don't know. My kind of sort of educated guess, based on, we talk about, I used to go to the dog track when I was in high school. They let me in. And I love going to the dog track. I love the greyhounds. And they don't even have them anymore in Florida, which really sucks. Anyway, you bet on past performance. Long race, short race, inside or outside box. Is it wet out? Who they're racing against? Does he break out fast? Who's next? The whole works. The president, to me, past performance as of recent, he knows if oil prices go up, that is bad news. And the only way oil prices pretty much go up right now is the war breaks out again. So my educated guess, based on past performance, that if we do something, it's going to be little bits and pieces type of thing. That's a pretty good guess, don't you think? So the Dow was down almost 600 today. And weirdly enough, I don't know, American Express down 13, Capital One. These are credit card companies. MasterCard and Visa got hit too. I didn't see any news, but it's not good to see retail stocks getting yonked. And then American Express and Capital One getting hit also with, by the way, MasterCard and Visa. And I don't see any news. Normally, I can see some news. Also, financials had a really good day yesterday, and you get hopeful, and they got kicked in the teeth a little bit today. So not good. And it just overall blah, except for oils. China has been dead. Bear market. Gapped up overnight, better day. I can't go any further than that. It had one great gap up. I don't think it changes the trend, but we're always looking for a change of trend, and we'll see if it can get some follow through from here. And again, China has been terrible. Gold and silver were down decently today. Let's see. Oil did finish up about $3.50. That sucks. And yields, 10-year 4.569, up 0.40. And I got to tell you, watch the 10-year. It hit 4.6 today before backing off a little. Watch the 10-year. We do not want to see the 10-year go above 4.7. That would be troublesome if you ask me. That would be really troublesome if you ask me. Couple of other things. Software types pulled back today, but nothing really untoward. Couple of other things. Nvidia. Been dead money. Really dead. In fact, the stock is down from last October. In fact, it's down from the high of 236 in May. It closed 204 today, up 7. What did that? China announced it is allowing a limited amount of chips from Nvidia. But in that, I thought we are restricting it ourselves. So that was a weird announcement, but it definitely was liked. Yesterday, Nvidia held the very important 200-day moving average almost to the penny and had a good bounce off of it today helped even more. Does not change the big trend, but we're open to that if it decides to. Just letting you know. That helped today, which takes us to the semiconductors. Terrible day yesterday. Terrible days last week. Up next, what did it do today? I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. Okay. By the way, did you hear that my hero, Jalen Brunson, was playing in the playoffs with a very bad wrist, which he had to have surgery for? Unbelievable. Never told anybody. Quietly became my New York Knicks hero, and he had surgery on that wrist. Unbelievable. Wow. A big wow. That's all I gotta say. A big wow. Okay. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index hit a high of 14,655. Hit 12,000 yesterday. About 7-8 trading days. But closed around 12,300. So had a nice little bounce off of that big number. The 50-day moving average. Now, listen carefully. If you've never heard me do a dissertation on the 50-day moving average, well, I'm going to do one now. Throughout history, the 50-day moving average, you add up the last 50-day closes, divide by 50, and you get a number, which is smoothed out versus all the wiggles and squiggles on a daily basis. The 50-day moving average is the place where in a bear market it is declining and all rallies into it gets kicked in the teeth at the declining 50-day moving average. In and around it, every now and then it could get a little bit above it, but typically spends most of the time below it. In a bull market, the 50-day moving average is where the soldiers defend the territory. Simple as that. Time and time again, until things get so weak it finally breaks, and you have one heck of a change in trend. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, it is not arguable that it has been the strongest area of the market, but just got hit pretty good. The 50-day moving average is at 12,311. Yesterday, it went to 12,000 in the middle of the day, but closed. By the way, we're not making this up. Yesterday, the 50-day moving average was 12,300. It closed at 12,300. By coincidence? Anyway, with the weakness this morning, earlier, it had a low today of 12,215. So it was really only down 85 points, which is nothing, when the Dow was down 800 at one time. Oh, by the way, it finished above the 50-day moving average today. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. That is going to be vital going forward for that to stick. Will it stick? I don't know. But we're on it. What is the problem? I have dozens of semiconductor stocks that are now trading below that 50-day moving average. We were highlighting it for you. But at the close of today, Micron finished just above it, STM just above it, AMD's above it, Taiwan Semi's above it, Marvell right above it. The big equipment guys, ASML, Applied Materials, KLA, Tencor, Lam Research, MKSI, finished above it, and all bounced today, even though the Dow was down 576. And what did that enable? The Nasdaq was actually up 52 today, and the Nasdaq 100 was up 79. With the Dow down 576, why? Semiconductors. The Nasdaq today hit a low of 25,526. The 50-day moving average, 25,608. Undercut it by a smidge. Finished back above it. As well as the Nasdaq 100. Vital. Some important semis. And the Nasdaq and Nasdaq 100 held the 50-day moving average, as well as the semiconductor index. Guess what we're going to be watching very closely in the days ahead? We'll be watching these very strong semis versus the weak, and we'll be watching the weak to hopefully get better. But we're not done, because the memory data names, Seagate, finished right above the 50-day moving average today. Western Digital, right above the 50-day moving average today. Both of them undercut a little bit yesterday. Two other vitals, and then SanDisk. Guess what SanDisk did? After hitting 1590 today, which is 60 points below the 50-day, it closed, and it's trading at 1705 in the aftermarket, back above. So the most important names that led the market, all holding the 50-day moving average today, in a market where the Dow was down 800 and still the Dow finished down 576. You know what we call that here? Muy importante. Of course, tomorrow's another day. And we'll see what the market brings. And of course, we'll see what the news brings from the president's decision-making tonight. There you have it. Up next, what else? This is the one only Investor's Edge. Yeah. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Thanks for being with us today. SpaceX. Interesting day for SpaceX. Let me explain. $135 IPO. And of course, we questioned, are they smoking crack bringing this thing out at $135? But it opened up at $150. And within a day or so, went to $225. Yeah, 2 days. And we warned you. We said to you, listen, most initial public offerings that have come public in the last year or two. They hype you, they tout you, and the masses buy the crap out of these IPOs for a couple of days, and most all have crumbled. Most all have crumbled. Just be careful. We're not telling you what to do. And they rammed it up to $225 in 2 days. But closed that day at 202. And we've just been highlighting for you the current valuation. It's a nut house. It doesn't make any sense currently. It's ridiculous. And we didn't tell you to buy, sell, short, or cover. Just the valuation. We had no idea whether it would go up to 300, go to a 3 trillion valuation, 4 trillion, who knows? Unfortunately, it dropped back down to 150, 225 to 150. Last I looked, that's $75 on 225. Last I looked, that's like 35, 36%. But you know what it did at 150? It bounced. And then you know what it did again? Went back to 150. And you know what it did? Bounced a little bit. And you know what it did? It visited 150 and then bounced even better. Rallied up to 172. But then you know what it did? It tanked the next day to 157. 2 days later, back to 168, but closed at 160. Yesterday got trashed. Finished at 149.47. And I believe, probably the radio audience, better not break 150. And do you know why it better not break 150? Because if it breaks 150, that's the opening of the IPO. That would mean anybody who bought the stock, if it breaks 150 and stays there, is losing money. And you know what that tends to do? Piss people off and feed on itself and pushes the stock even lower. And interesting enough, the stock tanked today. It went to 145 and change. You know what they did at the end of the day? Don't tell me things aren't plotted. In 5 minutes, they took the stock from 145.40 to 150. They tried. They closed it at 148.26. But you know where the stock is in the aftermarket right now? 149.30. They know what I know. You better freaking defend the stock here, because that's where it opened. And do you know who was in there buying today at the close? The people who brought it public. Do I know this is fact? Hell no. But we're big believers in the markets that 1 + 1 = 2. So they were out there today. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Because if they lose the 150 in earnest, it's going to be a problem. The investment bankers then look like idiots. Because their job is, believe it or not, once something goes public, stabilization as much as possible. In any case, The valuation currently is a joke. I think Elon's the greatest. The valuation is a joke. Does that mean it goes lower? No. Does that mean it goes higher? No, I don't know. We're just letting you know the valuation is a joke. It's sheer insanity currently. Notice I'm using the word currently. There's no doubt in our minds that they're going to grow the business, and pretty darn well. But the valuation is a joke, and they are lucky we are not in a bear market for stocks, because you know what happens in bear markets, right? The curtains come down. We've taught you that. So just letting you know, we still have no edge on the stock except to say that 150 area, and boy oh boy did they do their job in the last 5 minutes today, is support, and we'll see if it holds. That's all. I don't know when their first earnings reported. Oh, it's showing August 5th for their first earnings report. It'll be a loss. Is SpaceX in the Nasdaq 100 yet? Is SpaceX in the Nasdaq 100 yet? Joined yesterday. Oh, 2 days ago. Yesterday. It is in the Nasdaq 100. I'm glad I just did that. And by the way, just 15 trading days after their IPO, which is not normal. There was some good lobbying, I can promise you that. Anyway, there's your story. And I've been asked a lot about, shouldn't it go up getting put into the Nasdaq 100? Well, obviously not at this juncture. We'll keep an eye on it. And by the way, I have one screen of the IPOs of the last 2 years. I cannot begin to tell you the utter destruction of the IPOs because they brought them out at asinine, ass 10, and ass 11 prices. And some utter devastation. Utter. Remember GEMI, Gemini Space Station, brought to you by the Winklevoss twins? Cryptocurrency exchange, $28 deal, opened at 46, closed that day at 32. It's $4.22, and they lose crap loads of money. Y'all be careful. Do your due diligence. Here's another one, Firmi. $21 deal, opened at 36. Seven. It's got a $4.7 billion market cap with $3 million in sales. You know how much that pisses me off? When I started in this business, I was at a penny stock firm. We brought out companies at 10 cents with more sales than this company. And they're bringing it out at billions of dollars market cap. Hey, up next, this, that, and the other thing. This is the one only Investor's Edge. You know, I think I'm going to have to repeat something. Seriously. This company, Firmi, and this is not about the company. It's about the stock and Wall Street. They brought the stock out at $21. At $21 IPO, it was a $12 billion market cap. $12 billion. You listening to me? $12 billion market cap. hardly any sales. A $12 billion market cap. It's down to $7 and change now, and still has a $4.7 billion market cap. When I started in this business, it was at a penny stock firm. We used to do deals at 10 cents. And you know what the market cap would be at IPO? $3 million for companies that had more sales than this company. So when I say to you, Wall Street hates you, that's exactly what I mean. This is disgusting. But it's foisted upon you because they make big bucks. It's another one of these alternative energy companies. And again, this is not on the company. It's on Wall Street. And I'm looking at the company and what they do. Proven leadership. Of course they say that. And their vision. The next era of compute will be decided by power, AI. They have this thing called Firmi's Project Matador. Acres in Texas with partnership with Texas Tech. And who knows? Maybe it's going to be fantastic. I hope it is. We love success stories here. But they brought the frickin' company out at $21 billion market caps with nothing done yet. And people ask, well, why is the stock down 70%? That's why. And as I look at my screen here, of my little IPO screen, it rates a big wow. MNTN, 32 down to 10. StubHub, they brought that out at a joke. 28 down to 12. By the way, it was down to 6. And by the way, I never use StubHub ever again. They didn't deliver tickets. And try getting them on the phone. How about Fig? Highly touted Figma. A $33 deal. They had it up at $140 within a day. At $140, it had an $80 billion market cap with less than $1 billion of revenues. Hey, they have revenues. Oh, it's gone from 140 down to 21. Do you know why? Freaking valuations. If you went to buy a Toyota Highlander, are you going to pay what a Bentley costs for that Toyota Highlander? Well, that's what the hell you're doing with these IPOs that have been foisted upon you at ridiculous. How about BLSH? It's actually called Bullish. Oh, by the way, it's crypto blockchain company. $37 deal opens up at 120 something, and the same day closes at 70. Think about that. Oh, it's 25. And it's got a $10 billion market cap at $25 with, let's see, $300 million of revenues. This is why we bring this stuff up and then in the same breath mention SpaceX. Because they're trying to tell you $2 trillion market cap with 18 billion in revenues and 5 billion in losses? Hey, buy. And by the way, let me read something to you, because we came out of the quiet period with SpaceX, and you know what that enables? The analysts to come out. You ready? Initiated with a buy, initiated with an outperform, initiated with a buy, initiated with a buy, initiated with a buy, initiated with a buy, initiated with an overweight, initiate with an outperform, initiate with an outperform, initiated with a buy, initiated with an overweight, initiated with an outperform, initiated with a strong buy, initiated with a buy, initiated with a buy, initiated with an outperform, initiated with an overweight. Oh, one of them, initiate with a neutral. So everybody's a buy. Everybody's an outperform. Everybody's an overweight. There's one neutral. There's not one sell from Wall Street. Even though $2 trillion market cap and loses $5 billion and only $18 billion in revenues. Thus, when we state Wall Street hates you, there you have it. The quiet period's over. And by the way, Target, the stock closed at what? A little under 150 today? Target, 235, 239, 200, 217, 255, 205, 225, 250, 200, 200, 300. I rest my case. Have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family, hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Serenity now. Good night.